Hello, everyone, and welcome to the fifth installment of the Monday Morning Pen Blank Maker series. And today we are talking about a pen blank from a company called Poorly Controlled. And the blank maker's name is Lisa Marie. I believe she's from Florida. And this blank is called Saturn Storm. And it is a really striking blank. It almost has like a pearlescent thing. But anyway, we're going to get into this blank. We're going to talk about what I like about it. Maybe if there's some few things that I would change about it or that I, found interesting. And I think it's going to be a pretty cool and pretty interesting video. All right. So I got introduced to Poorly Controlled through Instagram. I believe that she posted one of these blanks. I believe it's this one right here. And if anyone knows me, I'm into one color or two color blanks. I like that monochromatic thing, but I do like, some variants. But it's really my thing, and I really found this blank striking, and it just called to me. So I had contacted her about making some blanks, and I got some blanks from her, a couple of these and a couple other ones, a purple one, I think. But I remember when I was working with this, I was just excited about what was going to happen, and I wasn't let down. I really like this blank. I like the stuff that she's doing. But for this series, I wanted to kind of step outside my comfort zone and do something that I wouldn't normally do. And I chose this blank Saturn Storm, which has some like opalescent, pink, maybe some black, silver, pearlescent color. Not something that would be typically hooligan, but again, that's the great thing about pen making, is that one day you could be making a Jonathan Brooks PM blank, and the next day you could be making, a solid red pen, with vintage material, and following day you could be making this. So, never say never. I think this is a really neat blank, and let's dive into it. So how was it to turn this blank? For one thing, her blanks are about 9 inches long. So if you are going to make a larger pen, this is a medium-sized pen, you're going to want to probably have two blanks. And I've said this many times before. The longer the blank, the better, especially for people who make larger blanks. The other thing about this blank in particular is it's kind of, when you start boring it, you can see that it's kind of a little bit translucent, but not much, because there's some areas where you can see through it. But it wouldn't be advantageous to polish the inside, because I don't think that that's what the blank was going for. It's kind of like a smoky type or quartzy type look. But you can see, because I step my caps because I taper them, I step them to leave a lot of the material here. So what happens is if it is a little bit translucent, you can see the dark areas and the light areas where you have different thicknesses from stepping your caps. But it's still a very striking blank. Also, I do wish it was a little bit longer. So how was this blank to turn? It wasn't bad. I do think that, and you're going to find out for a lot of people who are new to turning or new to making blanks, there are some blanks that you can turn rapidly, and there are some blanks that you cannot. And the reason I say that is because if you turn certain blanks too fast, you're not taking material off in strings. You start to like break it off. And then that could cause pinholing. So what I usually try to do is, if I'm taking a lot of material off, I'll take it off fast, even though there might be some pinholing or some fissures. But my last couple of turns on the metal lathe, I do very fine, take off a very finite amount so I can get the material smooth. This was kind of like that. But once it was all turned and once I got it, finished passes, and I'm not talking like big craters or anything, but anybody that knows that turns pens, when you take off a lot of material at once, it doesn't leave the best finish. Again, when I use my lathe, I'm using an Eccentric Engineering high-speed steel blank or bit or cutter blank, and I sharpen it before every time that I make a new Monday morning pen. And the reason is because I want to be able to express how the blank reacts. Now, everybody can have a different reaction to each blank because based on what type of cutters you use and based on how you do it. You could be doing this on a wood lathe and you could be using, a super sharp tool and you can have no problems. But when I'm turning blanks and I'm trying to get pens done, I'm trying to maximum my effort and maximize my time. And with a maximized effort and time, you want to be able to take the material down to, the right diameter rather quickly, because you don't want to waste any time, and back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth is just boring. So taking a lot of material off can leave not a great finish. So that's why I say the last couple of passes, you want to take really fine, very light passes so the material will look smooth and you can get an idea how it's going to look. Now, I really didn't get that chalky thing with this material, and I think it might, I don't know what it is, but I didn't really see that a lot with this material. As you can see inside with the threads, not too bad. You can see it's not chalky inside there. But what I did get, like I said, is that in some places where it's kind of see-through, and like I said, I don't think that was the use for this blank, for it to be polished on the inside. I guess you could, but then it would take away from that kind of opalescent feel to it, and you could have some splotchiness. I'm not sure, but I didn't choose to do that. And you can even see here, right here, where there's a dark area, and here where it's light, where I've done more of my boring. I guess that's just the nature of the beast when you deal with certain types of blanks. So sanding and polishing this blank on the outside is just beautiful. I mean, it really looks nice. It almost has a, high polish on this. It almost has a satin sheen, this Saturn Storm, which is kind of cool. I mean, it doesn't look super high gloss, even though I've buffed it, polished it, but it almost looks like it's, like I said, and I think it's because of the type of colorant, and that it is a little bit translucent, that it takes away from the shine. It kind of dulls that shine because it's not a solid color backing it up. But it is kind of neat. So is this a beginner, intermediate? Is it user-friendly? And I would say that I would put this more of a medium blank, and I'll tell you why. Because of the translucentness of this blank, and I just think that if you were, let's say that you were using this on a pen kit. Well, if you put like a brass tube in here, you're obviously going to see the brass tube. or if you were sleeving this with any material, you're going to obviously see that material. So for that reason, I would think that you would want to be prepared for anything. It works. It's workable. That's when it's, you know, it's a user-friendly blank, workability wise. But as far as aesthetically, I think that it's one of those things where you have to be prepared for what's the eventuality, and it's going to have some translucency. And if most people who are pen makers are using pen kits, then this pen blank is going to be difficult. But if you're a custom maker, you're either going to choose to polish the inside or not polish the inside. I guess it's the look that you're going to have to decide what you're going to go for. For that reason, I give it kind of a medium. But workability, it's very user-friendly. It threads well, it polishes well on the outside. It's a nice blank. And this one just screamed to me taper really sharply. For some reason, it just kind of screamed to me. So it's a poster. It posts really well. And it really turned out nice. So the question would be, would I use this blank again, and would I buy more from Lisa Marie at Poorly Controlled? Well, she happens to be one of my favorite blank makers. I don't make it any secret. And I tell her that, and I tell everybody that she's probably one of my top 5 favorite blank makers. So yes, I will be buying blanks from her, a lot of blanks from her probably in the future, and more stuff like this, you know, because I tend to go for the darker blanks. I do have another one of these Saturn Storms. I don't know when I'll use it again, but I will use it again. So yes, definitely, I'm a big fan, and I'll continue to use her blanks. It's oddly enough, I don't think Lisa even makes pens. She's one of those anomalies in the pen world where, you know, she's kind of like me. I make pens, but I don't really use them. And she makes pen blanks, and she doesn't make pens. So it's kind of a funny thing. I guess we're a perfect match for a pen blank maker and pen maker. All right, guys. Next week, I'm going back to my roots.